Okay. All right. So welcome to Command Bootcamp, the lead generation bootcamp. This is session 4. If you've missed any of the other ones, I'm going to put the recordings out for all of them so you guys can go back if you want to check into them. Today, we're going to dive into 2 topics and 2 topics only. Number 1 is called social posts. This is for social media free posting, post scheduling, the use of design templates, all that stuff on social media. So we're going to do that first. And then the second part of this, we're going to do social ads, which is paid social media ads. We are going to cover, the majority of it is Facebook, but it's the same strategy for Instagram and for Twitter as well. So I will share that as well. I share with some of you guys that were on early. Right now, the last 2 campaigns I ran, I'm in a demo account, so you're not going to see those. But the last 2 accounts I've ran for a big team, we averaged 69 cents per lead and $1.21 per lead. So the internet leads are still alive and well for sure. They did slow down a little bit when things started returning to close to normality, but definitely still alive and well. And when you think about it, $1.21 a lead or 69 cents a lead or free for a lead is pretty darn good. One thing I want everybody to understand is if you are converting 1% of these leads, you are in the top 1% of real estate agents. So a lot of people who jump on these classes and they get 1 lead and it doesn't close, and then they say internet leads don't work. I just want you to understand the numbers. So last year when I tracked this really hardcore with a lot of teams and friends and myself, it was 126 leads, 126 internet leads to 1. I know that sounds like a crazy number, but what I want you to think is the average across the country right now is about $2.50 a lead. So if you got 125 leads, let's say at $2.50 a lead, we're at what, like $300 bucks. So $300 to a closing is a pretty amazing ROI. What we're doing today, these I want you to understand they're what we call top of the funnel leads, meaning these people are not specifically looking for a piece of real estate. They get distracted by your ad and end up looking for real estate. So that's why they're kind of top of the funnel. They're further away from a transaction than most, because what happens with the sources that we're going to do today is they're on Facebook or they're on Twitter or they're on Instagram and they're scrolling and they're looking at the food their friends ate for dinner last night and their grandkids and crazy cat videos. And then all of a sudden they see a picture of a sexy house or some kind of an enticing offer, and they click on that, pop in their information, and then you get that information. And then a couple seconds later, they forget about it. And then they go back to looking at cat videos and looking at what their friends ate for dinner. So they're not specifically looking for real estate. So when you call these people, sometimes they're even going to say, oh, that wasn't me. You know it's them because they had to put the information in. However, they weren't specifically looking for real estate. So just want you to keep that in mind, because internet leads really are fantastic. We built a monster team pretty much off entirely internet leads. And it does work, but I just want you to understand the volume is you're looking at about 1% conversion. So when you log into Command, for those of you that are newer, your login is agent.kw.com, agent.kw.com, and it's your Keller Cloud login. So for most people, it's the first letter of their first name and then their last name. And if you have a really popular name combination, you probably have a number after it and whatever password you set up. And that brings you to this home screen. Everybody's home screen, there's a good chance looks very different because it's what you like or how you sort or organize things. So as long as it says welcome home and you have the little home highlighted, you're in the right spot. Even if yours looks different than mine, don't stress out about that, because everybody sets their things up a little different. And I like setting things up where leads are what you see first, because those are the most important things. So if that's what happens, yeah, you're okay. So we're going to do 2 things. One is kind of a precursor to making sure you set this thing up correctly. So if you want to do this and you want to run social posts for free or social ads for money, there's 2 things you need to do before we get started. Number 1 is next to your name, you're going to click the little drop-down arrow. You're going to go to the word settings. And when you get into settings, it's going to take us into the back end of Command, and it's going to show us all the applications that are live, working, and connectable to Command. So about 15 of them are going to come up here. If you have never connected Facebook before, it's not going to be at your top. So for me, I use it every day, so it's at the top. But if you have not connected it before, you're not going to see it at the top here. You're going to see it in 2 spots. Number 1 is going to be in social. The Facebook icon or logo that says Facebook post scheduling will be under social. And that is only if you are looking to do free social media. So if you want to connect your Facebook business page, you need to have a personal and a business page already made. And if you want to do that and connect them, this is the section under social that allows you to connect it to do free post scheduling and connecting to command. This will not charge you any money. You can't spend anything here. No matter how bad you mess it up, you can always just delete the post. So for those of you that are new, strongly suggest starting there. I'd rather you jump in and learn the tool a little bit before just spending money. Next is the paid section, and that's going to be under marketing automation. Everything in this marketing automation tab costs money. So if you're going to do these things, you're going to have to connect a credit card, which I'm going to show you is going to be the next step. But when you connect any of these, that means you're entering into the ads part of Facebook where you spend. So I do advise you to be careful with that. Facebook can spend as much money as you have in one day. So please know what you're doing before you dive in here. Also in here, you'll notice you don't see Instagram. Facebook owns Instagram, so they're actually connected. So as long as you connect your Facebook, you will be able to connect and set up your Instagram. And if you want to do Twitter ads or Google ads, you can connect through here as well. So that's kind of step one, get both of them connected, get them set up. You'll just hit the button that says connect account. It'll ask you to log into your Facebook. You'll log in right there, and it will say, give Keller Williams access to your Facebook and business page. And you have to say yes. And once you say yes, then you will be connected, and you'll see where they say connected your account and connected and your account. So once those are set up, that's kind of step number one. Step number two, from the home screen or from any screen that you're on, is you're going to go into the campaigns section. So campaigns is, I just want you to think of the word campaigns as outbound lead generation, because that's what it is. So when we go to campaigns, it's going to bring us to a little dashboard that shows us all the different campaigns we can run. Paid ads, we're going to talk about in the second half of the class. Emails we did 2 weeks ago, direct mail we did last week, and social posts we're also going to hit today. So it will show you a little summary of your account, what you have going on in there right now. What you need to do after the setup is you need to connect a payment if you want to run paid ads. So you'll click on payments, and then you can steal my credit card information. You'll hit add payment information. You just put it in. It's nice and simple, not too big of a deal. Just so you know, the way that Facebook ads works through KW, whatever you decide to spend, they bill you up front, and then you work off of that number kind of as a draw. So if you decide you want to spend $500, it bills you instantly for $500, and then you have like a $500 draw in the account, and you can use that as a credit or a draw or whatever you want to call it. So whatever you're going to put in as your spend, and I'll show you spend and kind of help you understand it later in the class, but just keep in mind that when you put the payment in there, it's not charging you, but when you create an ad and you select your spend, as soon as you hit go, it will charge you. And really, you're not getting that money back. So make sure you pick a number and you understand what you're doing before you just go spending away. So when we're in the campaign screen here, for either of our objectives today, we're going to use the create a new campaign. So when I click on that, it's going to pop us up 5 options. We're going to do social post first. Again, social post, if you're taking notes, just write the word free next to it. So that you know that is what we are going to be working on first. So social post free, and it's going to bring you into a little post builder. And this little preview thing pops up sometime, but I just want you to kind of understand how the things are laid out right now. So on the right side, this preview, this is exactly how your post is going to look when you put it on Facebook. So it constantly will update this as we do things. You'll see as we work through this, it'll be always updating that. But that's always your little preview that you get to see kind of what it looks like. And on the left side here, I'm going to kind of go through these before we build one. Text is just exactly what it sounds like. It's the text that's in the post. So just like if you were creating a post on Facebook and you were going to talk about the text, we'll do that now. You can put in there whatever it is that you want, and you see it updates in real time kind of on the right side there, okay? So that is number one. Then you're going to choose your media. So you get 3 options. Number 1 is a photo. Number 2 is a video. And number 3 is a link. So any of these work, and you can put whatever content you want in there. Photo, a couple different options. Number 1 is upload an image, which you can just take any image you have from your computer. And number 2 is choose from design. So if you created and made something in the design lab already, you can just grab it right here. It's nice and simple. You just hit Browse Design Library, and it'll show you all the designs that you've made and whatever one it is that you want to go with. Whatever, let's just say that one. It'll bring it up, and it'll ask you to size it if it's incorrectly sized. So a lot of times you'll see a pop-up come up here in a second. There you go. And it will ask you, how do you want to size it? So they give you options: square, wide, or free. Free form is like you drag and create the size however you want. Wide is the standard, like Facebook, like cover page or anything like that. And square is the normal size of a post. So you can set this up however you want. It doesn't really matter. Just make it look however you want. And then hit crop, and you'll see it show up on the right side there. So that's photo. If you go to video, you have 3 options. A video URL would be if you have a video on YouTube and you just want to put it there. Upload a video is if you have MP4 or M4V on your desktop. And neighborhood video is if you created one of the little neighborhood videos. So I can go in and find one of those that I made and throw those in there as well, and it will drop it right in there. And then link would be if you have a landing page or a web page or something that you're trying to drive somebody to, you paste it in here, you hit validate. They make sure it actually works before creating the post, and then you're done. So those are kind of your options for your media and for your content. Then when you scroll down a little bit, you have 2 options. So number 1 is you can schedule the post, or number 2 is you can publish immediately. So if you publish immediately, usually within 5 minutes, you'll see it live on your Facebook. If you want to schedule a post, you can click on the little calendar and you can schedule it for whenever you want. So maybe I want it to go out tomorrow, 9 a.m., and then I can leave that as scheduled. I'll show you where that comes up so you get it. And then it'll ask you to select pages. So right now I just have a Facebook connected to this account. You can, however, connect an Instagram account. You can connect a Twitter account, any of that fun stuff, just by hitting create an account. And then you are pretty much good to go. So you can either save it as a draft if you want to come back and work on it at a little later date, or you can hit schedule post. And when you hit schedule post, I'm going to show you where it pops up just so you kind of understand. Page identifier required. Let's see. Come on. All right. What will happen is when you hit schedule post, I'm in the demo account, so I don't have anything real set up on here. You'll see it, though, on the correct day. So whatever day it is that you are trying to schedule it out, so let's just say I scheduled it for Friday, you'll see it on there Friday, and it will say 9 o'clock or whatever time you put, and whatever social accounts are on there. So if it's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, you'll see the little Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram logos, and then it will all kind of come together. So that is how social post works. Also, if you did save it as a draft, you'd be able to see it in the draft post. Any questions on that? I'll give it a minute here and let you guys, if you have any questions on social posts. It's fairly simple and straightforward, but
I have a question.
On. Sure.
Is that more for, would you say that's more for branding? And if you're not putting a link back to your site, you're not going to be able to capture a lead?
It's definitely for branding and also just to get information out. So that's a good question, by the way. Whatever you put out here, it also is basically inside your network. So if you're putting something on your business page through here, the only people that are going to see it are the people that can see your page already. So what a lot of people do that I work with is they create like a minimum of 1 post a day, and they'll schedule posts out for a week or 2 weeks in advance so that they don't have to go on every day. But it's just so there's like constant content getting posted onto your page. So in a perfect world, you'd be posting at least once a day, all different things. You know, it might be a house, it might be a house value, it might be an open house, an interesting article, whatever. But we're just trying to get content out there consistently. And that will kind of be this.
Is there a way to, through command, to be able to track back that, even though it's somebody that's already in your network, to know that their interest came from a particular post kind of thing that they had clicked on?
Not really, but when you do post this inside of Facebook, you can see, you know, like who liked it and who commented on it and all that stuff. So you can kind of use that analytics through that. And on your business page, you have that analytics like tab as well, where you can go in there and kind of check that stuff out. Any of the free stuff, the social posts, the tracking is pretty minimal. It's just like what you can see with the naked eye, you know, with who likes things or clicks on things.
Yeah, Brian, I have a question as well. Do you definitely recommend having a business page, right? I mean, I'm brand new to this, so I haven't
Yeah,
established
absolutely. Good question. So everybody should have, no matter your level, skill level, or whatever, everybody should have a personal page and should have a business page for sure.
Okay.
And ideally, you know, in a perfect world is you do about 80% business, 20% personal and life on your business page, and then swap the other way for the personal, where your personal page is mostly personal, you know, stuff, family stuff, whatever, and then the little bit of business kind of, you know, like kind of trickled in there, if you will.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Also, just so you know, and that's a great question, because if you do not have a business page, you actually cannot run ads. So if you want to run any ads or do any lead generation, you cannot do that without a business page. So you can do what we just did, these social posts for free. But if you want to run ads to try to generate new business, you have to have a business page.
Hey,
Anybody
Ryan,
else? Any questions before we move on here?
Hey, Ryan, quick question. If I've created a blog post and I put the link to that blog post in here, I assume it then automatically creates the post from what it's pulling in from the blog.
It does. It does that little like preview where if they click on the box, it'll take them right to the link.
Right.
Good question. Anybody else? All right, let's dive into ads. So I'm going to do it all the way back from the beginning, minus the setup steps. I'll just start from the beginning just so you can see. All right, so once we get back to the home screen of Command, same thing. We're going to start by going into campaigns. If you don't know the little red shortcut, it's one of my favorites. You just click the little red button and it expands all the icons and anything that's minimized. So if you click that, sometimes it might help you navigate. So we go into campaigns. It's going to bring us to our dashboard again. It's really irrelevant for what we're going to do now. We're going to hit create a new campaign on the top right in the teal box. And when we do that, we're going to get the option of all 5 campaign styles. We're going to choose social ad. And then we have some options, all right? So this, again, now we're getting into a spend. So anything that we do from here is going to cost money. So just pay attention. Campaign name. You want every one of these campaigns that you run to be unique for tracking and also for kind of understanding how to get better. So for instance, if you got a new listing at 123 Main Street, I would do 123 Main Street -1 or 123 Main Street, something that makes you understand it was the first time you did that, because if you end up doing another ad for it, you don't want to use 123 Main Street again without differentiating. A big part of becoming pretty good at these social ads is doing split tests with yourself. And what I mean by that is like running an ad one way and then doing a different option with a couple of changes on the ad almost exactly the same way the next time. And that's how you kind of constantly get better at these things. So the more that you do them, the better your results should be if you are constantly doing that. However, if you are not doing that, you're just kind of, you know, Wild Westing it out there. And that's not that you can't be successful, but the more you do with that, the better it's going to get. So let's just say 123 Main Street, #1. Now, I just want to kind of explain what these all of them mean. They're pretty self-explanatory, but there's really only a couple that you should be using. So advertise listing and attract buyers are pretty much exactly the same thing, just so you understand. If you have a listing that you're posting up looking to try to sell that listing or to generate buyers, you're going to do either one of those. Advertise multiple listings. What that's going to do is give you like a carousel or a basically a slideshow or something that flips through where the person can see multiple listings. So if you have 2 or 3 listings right now that you're listing, or if you're trying to show off all the homes that are for sale in Wellington under $1 million, that you would use that one. Attract talent is if you're trying to hire for your team or for your office. Event awareness is like if you have a client appreciation party, something like that. Other is if you just don't fall into any of these categories. Attract listings would be if you're trying to go after seller business. And brand awareness is if you're just trying to do like a digital billboard and just get people seeing your stuff more. So every one of these has a very important use, I would say. They're just a very unique and different use. So like brand awareness, a lot of times we'll do cold brand awareness campaigns just to a large area to just start letting people see the name or what we're doing. And then down the line, we're going to retarget those people because they've already seen us. So the brand awareness of all these options is the cheapest option, but you're going to get the least amount of leads for that. The advertised listing, advertise multiple listing, advertise buyers is kind of like middle of the road cost wise, and probably your best chance at leads. And attract listing, attract talent, event awareness is going to be your highest cost and your lowest number of leads and conversions. So you kind of have an idea. So I'm going to just do a listing one now and try to get some buyers. And then you choose where you want it to run. So Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Again, totally up to you. It doesn't matter what you choose. It's just if you have all the platforms, you can run it on all the platforms. If not, no big deal. So if you just have one, don't stress out and think I have to go make a Twitter now because it's asking me. Don't let it stress you out. So we select all those things. Then we're going to hit set up campaign, and it's going to start us in a builder. So very similar to the last one. And the reason why I kind of tell people to do the social post one first is because it's free. And a lot of the features are the same. And I'd rather you test on something that's free than spend your money and just be disappointed. So I usually get mixed results when I teach these classes. And one of the reasons I don't love teaching things that make people spend money is because I don't want to spend your money and have you be disappointed. So all I'm going to ask is I'm going to give you some tips through this. And at the end of it, only spend what you're comfortable losing 100% of. So if the money is going to hurt, please don't spend it because I don't want someone to be disappointed because of the class. So when we get in here, same thing on the right side, you get your entire preview post. Now, what's cool about this one is you get a couple of different previews. So you get a web feed and you also get to see what it looks like on a phone. And that comes in handy here for the ads because truthfully, most people, especially now, are viewing Facebook on their phone. So we want to make sure it looks good on the phone. If you also select Instagram and Twitter, it'll do the same thing. It'll say Twitter web, Twitter mobile, Instagram web, Instagram mobile. So what I advise you to do is build the thing out and don't just be so quick to hit publish. You want to look through it in all the different views and make sure it looks good and think, okay, if I saw that on my newsfeed, would I pay attention to it? You know, would I want to make sure that I actually look at it? So however many platforms you use is cool. Just make sure you preview and pay attention to this preview because it's important. Next, if you have a listing or you're working on a specific listing, if you do the add a listing feature, it's going to pull in all the information from KWLS, the MLS. It's going to try to find whatever it can. Sometimes it doesn't find your listings for whatever reason. I don't know. Could be an IDX issue. It could be based on what you checked when you put it into the MLS the first time. But if you're working on a listing, whether it's yours or you're using someone else's with their permission, we're going to go to the no listing selected, hit add a listing, and try and find it. So what it will do as a default is it'll show you whatever listings you have going on right now. It'll pop all them up and kind of show you them. So when you hit select, it will take that one. And whatever it is, the first picture will just come up, whatever the first picture is in the MLS. So if you noticed also, it automatically dumped in the main copy from the MLS. So this is the public description in the MLS. So you can use that if you want, or you can change that if you want. Whatever you want to do is totally up to you. One thing I will say is don't make this too long. So the people that use 250 plus characters, it cuts off. But also when you go mobile, sometimes these long descriptions get cut off anyway. And to me, at least this is just me, and this could be personal, but if I see something and the words are cut off, most of the time, unless I'm really interested, I'm on to the next one. So just pay attention to that. Again, web and mobile. Next is the headline. So you can see where that fills in under the picture. It's the main one. And then there's a description, which is more text underneath there. So this is, let me just to show you, I'm just going to jump in the same thing. So you see kind of where that fills in. So you kind of have a main text, a headline for the ad, and then a minimized text or a smaller text. Now notice when we go to mobile, again, both of these are cut off. So if it was me, I would be adjusting these right now. Cuts off at storage, I think. Yeah, so just, I know this doesn't make sense grammar-wise, but just so you kind of see the point here. It looks much better when it's not dotted. Everybody see that? So those are kind of your 3 pieces of add text, or what they call add copy, are those pieces right there. Next, we go to add media. So this is where you start having some options. So it pulled in whatever the first picture was in the MLS. You have the option to add more if you want. It'll pull whatever other pictures you have in the MLS. And if I want to add a couple of them, I can do that. And it will add them in here, and then it'll make it a 2-picture ad. So it's the same listing, but it's 2 pictures. What I will always suggest is like this is the ugliest house on the planet probably. So I would never actually even bother running an ad on this house, but you ideally want something that's sexy. So it needs to grab someone's eye when they're looking at cat videos and their grandkids and food. Remember that. So if it doesn't look good, it doesn't matter how great of a novelist you are for the copy. So what I would suggest is if you have a really great picture, use that. If you have 2 or 3 great pictures, use them. Do not put 25 MLS pictures on here when one of them is the backyard photo and it's just looking at the house and it's grass and a cement wall. Try to pick something that looks good, that's going to be flashy and grab somebody's eye. It doesn't have to be the front of the house. It's not like the MLS where you have to have the first picture be the front. It could be anything you want. So it could be the kitchen, the pool, the master shower, whatever it is that you think is going to be eye-catching. That is what I would go with. You do want to have your Market Center logo on there, so you should have that uploaded already. If you don't already, just get that from your MCA in whichever office you're in. I know we have a couple different offices on here. It'll say Keller Williams or KW and whatever your office names is. So we have Boca on here, Boynton, Wellington, Innovations, PGA, I think. So whatever office it is that you're in, get that on.
Where does that go? Like over each picture, or?
So you get the choice. If the left or right, it'll show up like really small on the bottom on the right side, and it's like somewhat transparent, so it won't like block out the back of the picture. It'll just kind of sit over the top.
Okay.
And then the ownership statement is like that each office independently owned and operated. If you have your office logo on there, you do need to have that on there. So just make sure you do that. And remember, again, always be checking what it looks like as you're building, right? So 2 sections left of this. Then we're going to go to Facebook ad. This is where everybody has a different strategy. So I'm going to let you do whatever you want here. I just want you to understand and explain it. Account is whatever account you're currently connected to. Here is where you're going to see your personal Facebook page. It's going to be your personal name. Now, if you do not have a business page here, you cannot move forward from here. If you do have a business page, you're going to get a drop down with all of the business pages that you manage or that you own or that you work with or whatever, and you can pick whichever one it is that you want to put on there. So whatever one you choose to pick, great, you're going to throw that on there, and it's going to kind of brand that page then that it's coming from them. Then you're going to choose a destination. This means where do the people go when they actually go to your ad? So there's 2 options here. And I want you to understand these. Facebook lead generation form means you will get more leads, but they will be way worse quality. And site or landing page means you will get less leads, but you will get way higher quality. In general, Facebook lead form will be cheaper and crappier, but more leads, right, in abundance. And site or landing page will be much better leads, a little more expensive, and a little bit further down the funnel. So whatever you want is fine. There's no right or wrong here. It's just whatever you choose. But keep that in mind. If you want a lot of leads that aren't going to answer your phone or be bad numbers, it's lead gen form. If you want more targeted leads that cost a little bit more but are better quality, we're going to use the right side, the landing page. The button call to action is down here. If you see where it says learn more in my preview, that's what that is. So when we click learn more, you can choose other things. So you can make it say sign up, contact us now, or apply now. So whatever your ad copy is, you want to make sure this kind of makes sense, because the goal of this whole thing is that they click on the button. If they don't click on the button, you don't get any leads. So whatever you say, if your text says click on the button to learn more about the property, you would probably want learn more, right? But if you're trying to send them a list of all the homes in Wellington under $1 million, It might be sign up now for our Wellington list, and then you would want sign up. So it doesn't matter which one you use. There's no better or worse. It just has to fit in and kind of flow with your copy. So whatever you pick, just make sure it makes sense with the text. Destination URL. So these are two options. Number one is you can put any website in there that they will be able to land at. And the other option is you can use one of your created landing pages. So kind of a preface to this, hopefully you guys have taken my landing page classes before. If you haven't, then I will, if you stay on at the end, I'll be able to share you the link for the videos to make those landing pages. I don't want to go through that now. But ideally, you would make a landing page before, because we're going to use a site or landing page option. We're going to click choose landing page, and then it's going to show us all the ones that we've recently made. So you guys that know me know I make a million of these for classes and for people all the time. So I don't even know what this one is, but I'm just going to pick one. Let's just see. We can kind of just see what it looks like.
Brian,
yes.
Do you make a landing page for each listing, or is it a generic landing page?
No, you should do a landing page for each idea. So every listing you do, like this one is a neighborhood one. So if I was doing an ad about people wanting to move into whatever, Les Chalets, I would use a landing page like this. And then again, these are all joke and tests, so the title sometimes is corny, but if they put their information in on here, then the lead's going to come right into my command, and it's going to say Sandra left her name and phone number and wants to look at a house in Les Chalets. So when you're doing the landing pages, create one, drop it in there, and again, it drops these things right into command. So they actually added a note in here. I didn't even know that they added that. If you're sending them to another CRM or another website that's not KW, there's nothing we can do to like kind of track that. If you put them going to your landing page, you'll know what landing page it went to. You can track that landing page by how many leads it gets. So the landing pages are kind of key in this whole game. A lot of you guys that have been to a lot of my classes know that I'm a big landing page guy and not a big single website guy. So I would suggest creating those for whatever you're going to do. So in this example, we listed 123 Main Street. I would have a landing page that's just specifically for 123 Main Street. That's more details than just this ad. It's going to have, I don't know, the taxes and the square footage and the beds and baths and what's around and all that fun stuff. Then we're going to scroll down a little bit to add targeting. It just picks a default for you. So if you put in a listing, it takes the address of that property and it drops it at 20 miles, within 20 miles of that. You can customize that however you want. There's two different ways. Number one is you can target to your database. So if you have a database in here with social media profiles, you can target to that. Or you can create a custom audience, which is what I'm in right now. Your location, you'll see it kind of defaults as the United States. And then you can search by location. So it knows it's in Boynton Beach because it's pulling it from the information. So I want to go work around Boynton Beach. And then I have a 15 to 50 miles that I can play with. So it will not let me go bigger or smaller than that. You'll see 50 is the top and 15, I believe, is the low. Yeah. So you can be anywhere within 15 to 50 miles of that. Again, it doesn't matter. This is just how you want to target, and whatever you want to do is cool here. And then the other options are you can add interests. So these are things that people like that, we want to target. So if I want to target people that are accountants, I can do that. If I want to target people that like, I don't know, Craigslist, I can do that. And if I want to target people that are into investing online, I can target that. And I can put all these as targets on the ad so that it's going to be a more targeted search instead of just all the population that live in that area. So that is kind of the basics of targeting. Again, there's no right or wrong here. It's whatever you want to do. And the last part of this before we actually do this is the budget. Hopefully you guys have been paying attention. If not, do whatever you need to do to wake up now so you don't spend yourself poor. When you click on duration and budget.
Hey, Ryan.
Yeah.
Before we move on, was
Yep.
one of the interests there people that are actively looking at real estate sites, so they appear to have a propensity or interest in real estate?
So you can target to things like, I believe there's Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com on here. Let's see. They update these pretty often, so let's see what comes up. Yeah, Zillow.
What about income? What about income level?
Cannot do income anymore. You cannot do age. There's a lot of things that were cut out with the last round of fair housing lawsuits at Facebook.
Oh my God.
And this is our ad account. This isn't a group ad account, right?
Yeah, each one is individual. It's your personal one.
Okay. So if we create that account outside of here, can we pull that over into here in case we're using like Facebook Business Manager to control that account?
You cannot. So you can have that, running separately and run your own ads from there, but then it doesn't sync into here. So if you want to sync to Command or Kelly or any of the KW stuff, you have to run the ad through here.
But I could still access that account outside of Command if I want to through Facebook Business Manager.
Correct. Yep. And you're using the same business page. They're both tied to your business page and your personal account. So it's almost like you're running a separate parallel ad account.
Right.
But you can go in and out of either one of them, in any amount of time you want.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
You know how when they first started the ad platform on Facebook, it was attached to your personal ad account or your personal Facebook account. Now they have the business manager where you are a member of that ad account in there. Does Command able to connect to both types?
No, it connects to your personal first, and then everything kind of stems off of that. The business manager is really for ad agencies to be allowed onto people's like business pages to run ads for them, where this one is like they want to make sure and verify that it's you because you're going to link your credit card right in here and spend.
Okay.
So everything's going to be through personal first in here, and then it links to business page after that. All right, so on duration and budget here, you can pick as long as you want. I don't even think it'll let you pick same day anymore. It might, no. Okay, so it usually takes about a day to get an ad approved because what happens is now, because we're not just in Facebook, it goes through double the compliance. So it goes through Facebook and it goes through KW. So whatever day you're actually working on this ad, don't pick that day, pick the next day as your start date or later if you want, but don't pick the same day. It'll kind of just always kick it back. And then you can make the duration however long you want. So if I want to run the ad for 42 days, that's fine. It tells you that a lot of these recommendations, I'm just going to tell you, are nonsense. It tells you to recommend a 10-day campaign and a budget of $1 per channel per day. You're not getting anything if you run it at that. So if you want to do that, you can, but I'm just warning you that that's not going to work too well. Channel, just so you know, each channel means each social media outlet. So for instance, Facebook is one channel, Instagram is one channel, and Twitter is one channel. So in the beginning, when we started setting this up, if you put together, you guys just lose my screen? You guys there? I don't know where my screen went.
We can still see you.
You still see
You're
it?
there.
We
Yes.
there, we see you. We see your screen.
That's really weird because I don't see my screen. What the heck is going on here? Hang on one second. Please hold.
Your bank statement. So.
I have a couple monitors set up, and one of them just completely gave up.
You're overusing it.
I am. So true.
I mean, you could at least put Lola on the screen when you walk away. Jeez.
I don't even know. I lost everything.
You lost her too? Great.
Yeah.
Hey, Ryan, I have a quick question as far as like the age group, because if you have a high-end home, you don't really want to market to 20-year-olds. I mean,
doesn't matter. You can't. It's discrimination. You can't.
Just through KW or through any Facebook?
Any real estate, insurance, finance. There's like 4 or 5 different things that you can't target age group anymore.
Oh.
I got my screen back. There we go. Okay. So sorry about that, guys. I have no idea what the heck just happened. Okay, so duration and budget. So we talked about the length. You can make the length as long as you want. The channel, again, is going to be Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Each one is a channel. So in this example where it says $1 per channel per day, you see my total campaign budget here is selected as $30. And that means I'm spending 71 cents per day. most likely you will not even get one lead for that. There's always a chance, and there's over a big sample size, you'll probably sneak in some. But consistently, you're really not going to get anything that way. My suggestion is twofold. Number one, don't put anything in here that you're not comfortable losing 100% of without getting any leads. Because pretty much every time someone runs one of these, or the first couple times, they get nothing or very low results. And my next thing is that the average lead cost across the country is about $2.50, give or take. So if you're anything less than $2.50, you're basically saying, I'm not playing with the numbers here. There's most likely not a chance that I'm going to get one lead today. And if you do, that's definitely going to be all you get that day. So just kind of keep that in mind. If I was really running this for 42 days, let's see, I would probably do something like a $200-ish range and try to get that budget to about $5 a day. On your first ad, please, whatever you do not do a 42-day ad. In the beginning, until you get really good at this, the key is to do a lot of little short ones and see how it works. The strategy that I always try to teach people on is to focus on making sure whenever you start your ad campaign that 2 weekends get into the campaign. So for instance, today's Wednesday. If we started it realistically, it wouldn't be able to start until tomorrow, the 27th. So at a bare minimum, I would run this to, let's say 27th. So I would want to get through that weekend. I would probably run this until like the 7th or the 8th to really get a good idea on what my spend looks like. And I could get away with probably doing like $60. Yeah, and covering pretty good there. So it's not necessarily a number of days, but you want to get through like 2 weekends and give yourself a chance to hit. A lot of times what will happen is you'll run an ad for 1 or 2 days and just get nothing. And then people quit on it after that. And sometimes it's because their ad sucks. And sometimes it's because you just didn't give it enough time. The more ads you run and the longer they run, the more the Facebook algorithm works for you. So the longer you're running and the more you're running, the better your results are going to get. I would say if this is your very first time and you get started on this and you get anything less than or more than like a lead for like $4, meaning if your cost is like below $4, you're doing okay. It's a decent start, but you really want to get it to like at or below $2.50 a lead. It's kind of like means you're doing pretty good. So when that's done there, we would just save that. And once we save all these things, we would just hit publish. And then when we hit publish, it goes live. It actually goes on to Facebook, or actually goes into approval, I should say. And then within a day or so, it'll go on to Facebook. And people always ask, why can't I see my ads? And it's because you're not in your audience. So you can see your ad in like the ad manager or in here, but it's not going to show up as like a post on your page or in your newsfeed like you think it would. It's being shown out to the public. So if you can't see it, don't stress yourself out. You can always see it in ad manager or in here. But other than that, you're not going to see it as like a post. So don't stress if you don't see it. That is pretty much everything I got. I will hang on for a bit for questions. If anybody has any and wants to ask, just jump on and ask away.
Ryan, I'm going to ask you this as agent, not as, because I already know the answer. So if I get leads, Ryan, where do they go? How do I know where to find them?
Great question. So they will see this little bell at the top of my screen. They will go into there as a notification, and it will say, this is compliance, but you'll see somewhere it'll say like you received a new lead. Joe Smith clicked on your website. And the way to actually find them is twofold. One is in Kelly on your phone, and the other option is in the contacts section. And when you click on contacts, there's one key feature that everybody misses here, and that helps them never find their leads. So I'm going to show you what you need to, great question, by the way. I'm going to start planting you in the audience to throw those things in there. Good job.
Ryan, quick question. What is a lead?
I was just going to say, hang on, Melissa. But a lead is someone that maybe, possibly, wants to buy or sell a house. A lead is also something that kicks me out of command. I'm really not doing good with tech today, huh? So when you get back in here and you click on contacts, the way that you actually find your leads is you have to filter for leads. And I want you to understand how the system views a lead. The system views a lead as someone that came into our technology without being manually entered, meaning they came in somewhere, some way on their own. What the heck is happening? They came in somewhere on their own, and they have not been contacted yet. So no one's made an effort at them yet. And that puts them right into the section called leads. So when you go into contacts, you hit the filters button. Don't kick me out again. Come on.
Overwork.
I know. You hit there we go. You hit the filters button, and then you're going to hit the filter that says leads only. And when you click that leads only filter and you scroll down a little bit and you hit apply, it'll get rid of all of your database and just show you your leads. And if you notice, the leads have a little L in a green teal kind of circle until you remove that from them. So ideally, the way leads should be working is that if you get a lead, it should stay in the lead section until you make an effort at that lead. And then once you made an effort at that lead, then you move them out of the leads. So in a perfect world, like what we would do on our team is the first strategy every single morning, or the first thing to do every single morning is run through the new leads and make sure that you don't have any more new leads because you don't want to be letting them sit there untouched or unworked. So good question, Dora. Anybody else while my command is fighting me?
The other person had a question.
I don't know. Whoever, if you have a question, feel free to jump on.
Okay, you said you were going to give us the landing page links.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is
Yeah.
sorry.
I will, give me 1 second. I'm going to find it, and I have a video on how to make them, and I will put that in the chat. So anybody that's new-ish to Command, I have a YouTube channel with a ton of Command videos. There's, I think, like 60 of them on there now. And there's a little walkthrough on how to do pretty much everything you could ever possibly imagine that you need to do in Command. So I'm going to find that playlist and I will drop it in the chat for you guys. And you can then just use that kind of at will. Give me 1 second. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask, but I'm going to find that link for you guys and then I'll.
So would you answer a question for Facebook? I put up an ad on Facebook, and how do you know your leads? Would it be the same thing looking at notifications? The notifications would say you have.
Yeah, where we just showed you, you got to go into contacts and do that lead filter.
Okay.
And then you'll see them there. They'll all just pop up and they'll have that little circle that says, has an L on it. I just put the link in the chat too for anybody that wants it of the YouTube channel. That link is going to take you directly to the playlist. That's all the how-tos for Command. So there's 50 something videos on there ranging between like 2 minutes and like 10 minutes on how to do everything in there. If you sort them by oldest to newest, oldest is like all the way to the basics, like how to log in, and newest is a little more advanced. And somewhere in the middle, there's 6 landing page videos in a row. There's actually 6 kinds of landing pages that you can create right now that work. And there's 6 of those videos in a row that you can go on there and watch and build. And if anybody has trouble with any of these things, I do a technology help desk Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And it's on the same link that we're on right now. It's mynamezoom.com. And you can just jump on there in that hour. And sometimes there's 1 person on there and sometimes there's 20 people on there, but you could just jump on there in that hour with your struggles. It's not come on and have me do it for you. It's kind of come on and we work on there together, but you can just come on and we'll figure it out. So there's pretty much no problem we can't come up with a way to fix or solve. So if you need help, feel free to jump on.
What's the schedule again, Ryan?
It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And it's this link. It's ryanmchugh-zoom.com.
Thursday.
Ryan, real quick,
And then every week, once a week, I do one of these tech workshops. It's always Wednesday, 11 to 12. It's a different topic inside of Command every week. But unless there's like, I think the only week we're not doing it next month is that week of Mega Camp. But other than that, it's every week unless there's a regional event or unless I'm out of the country or something. But it's pretty much all the time.
Ryan, one more quick question regarding the leads. So we're taking them out of the lead status as soon as we touch them. It's not a two-way communication, right?
Correct. You know, so they still stay in your database after that. You're just taking them out of the lead status so that you're not missing out on new ones. So in the beginning, if you only have 1 lead coming in, it's not a big deal. But what happens is as you scale and you have leads pouring in, it's impossible to remember like who's in what status and who you need to follow up with. So the goal is to get that lead status cleaned out every day. What we do in our world and with the teams that I work in is we have a couple of different buckets or tags that we put leads in once we talk to them or make an effort at them. So one of them is unknown, meaning we tried to reach out and they just didn't answer. One of them is cold, which is like they answered, but not really any interest in selling real estate. And then one of them is hot, which is like they answered and had a conversation about real estate. And basically everybody at every level falls into one of those three. So it's I'm like a guy that tries to make things as simple as humanly possible. I know some people like to have 400 different tags and groups, and I just can't function that way. So we just use those three, and it's very easy to go through.
And those will be under the contacts tab, right?
Yeah, yep. Then they're all in contacts and they're in a tag. So one tag is unknown. So usually unknown as you grow will be the biggest one, because the truth is only about 20% of the people ever actually answer the phone and talk to you. So you'll have like 80% of your database is in unknown. And what we do is like anytime we need to drum up business or, get back to work or try to find some new deals, we'll kind of pile through that unknown. And every time you go through it, you'll pull some stuff out of there. But
I
people don't answer or text or anything, then we just throw them in there so we don't have to worry about it.
Thank you.
You showed the flow as if it was going to the landing page. What did it look like if you do it as a lead capture on Facebook?
If it goes in as the lead form, they land on this little form that's just like a little square that asks them for their name, their phone number, and their information. Facebook actually makes that, so like you can't really see it. And then their information just spits into the same spot that we just showed.
So because it's linked through command, but they already have on the back end the link for that form to get put into KW command?
Correct. Yeah. And that's all Facebook made. You can't edit that one.
No, I know the form on the Facebook side is. I'm just wondering how there's the connection between that form and back to command.
Oh yeah, because you're connecting. It's called an API that like ties a third-party product into our stuff. So there's like an API between Facebook and Keller Williams that when they put that Facebook lead form in or when they fill it out, it spits it into our command.
And that's only activated in each ad versus.
Correct.
Okay, so if for whatever reason at some point in the future I used a different CRM or something like that, it's not connected hard connection with Facebook Forms somewhere.
It's not, no. But if you were using another CRM or something else, those Facebook lead forms, they download into an Excel, and you can go into the back end of Business Manager and export the Excel if you want and do it that way. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but it works still.
Okay.
Good question. Anybody else, anything before we roll?
Brian, if I wanted to research how to attract listings, is there somebody out there that you currently follow in the KW world? Like as far as Facebook ads?
The biggest things to attract listings, I'll tell you, I'm actually testing, doing $1,000 spend to test seller leads this week. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'll have some numbers for you. But the biggest thing that attracts is still home value and
right.
Things related to how much somebody's home is worth.
Right.
So if you do the attract sellers, it's like, what is your, want to find out what your Wellington home is worth in this hot market. And then when they submit the information or the lead form or something, you're trying to get in there for a listing appointment. And the only problem with seller leads is that we just did a monster direct mail campaign and tech campaign pushing all this, is that right now, especially because rates are really hot, so much of them don't actually want to sell. They want to refi. They want to know what the home is. It makes sense if they're going to refi. So it's a hurdle, I guess.
Yeah.
It's good because, it's good because you refer them to us at title, or you could give them to mortgage or whatever, but you're not getting paid on that as an agent, And the truth is, most of the good buyers that you get are sellers. A lot of times that's where you're getting seller leads, is the buyers that need to buy something, but they need to sell something to be able to buy that. So the best way to generate leads through Facebook really is going after buyer leads. There's always going to be a chance at some seller leads, but what we've done too, I don't think Dan is on here now, but me and Dan were running a test one where we were doing a neighborhood snapshot as the landing page. So we would do, what is your Sugar Pond home worth or whatever. And we would make the landing page that neighborhood that we were talking about. And the picture was like something that would be easily recognizable if you were in that neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
So it could be like the sign for the HOA, or if there's like a lake that everybody in the neighborhood would only know
Right.
in that neighborhood, or something, something that's very obvious if you live in there. And then do whatever the zip code that property's in, and do within 15 miles, which is the short one, like the short distance, and then run it that way.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We actually got listing leads out of that.
Yeah, I didn't know if there was something besides like the home
All-
value, because that's the
all going
standard.
back to- all going back to the landing page.
Yeah.
But that was tied to that. Those neighborhood snapshot landing pages are actually pretty good, just because they're very simple and they're easy to get people thinking and talking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good to generate seller leads. Like we were generating on that ad, I think we were at like 475 or 465 per conversion. Which sucks compared to buyer leads. It's like probably 5 times more than what I average on buyer leads. But right now,
buyers from it.
Yeah, and also
if
right
you get
now,
the listing.
Yeah, I was gonna say right now in this market, basically, if you have a listing, you have a closing. So
You absolutely.
it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just you have to kind of calculate your spend. We always kind of try to push newer people to buyer leads.
Always.
Because they're simpler to generate and simpler to convert.
Mm-hmm.
The long game is always kind of listings, but there's not an easy way to generate seller leads.
Yeah.
That really.
Okay. I just wasn't sure if there was something I wasn't thinking about.
Yeah, those neighborhood
You did
snaps
this
are the
one.
best way. What's your home worth
Good
thing
idea.
in Sugar Pond, and then do a Sugar Pond snapshot. And there's so many of those neighborhoods that you keep updating them. Like every zip code has 20 or 30 neighborhoods in there, so you could run 20 or 30 ads all in the same zip code, all within 15 miles, and really generate some stuff. And if you have a real picture of it too, like that you took, or that is maybe you had a listing and now you're trying to get other listings in the area that listing was in.
Mm-hmm.
But home value, I was talking, Lisa's on here, I was talking to her yesterday. She sent out some home value postcards even. And I think yesterday when I talked to her, I think she had 3 leads or 4 leads just within a couple
Awesome.
of days. Lisa, if you're on here, what was it? Was it 3 or 4 leads or something in a few days?
6.
6. I'm sorry, I butchered it. Yeah, there you go. And that was with like a basic postcard with a social media connection and a home value.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Perfect. Very good.
Yeah, market's good right now. We got to cash in and make money while we can. Might not be this way for a long time.
So,
Exactly.
Ryan, with like the neighborhood pages, remember me telling you I was having those videos made? Like
Yeah.
the neighborhood videos of doing like 3 or 4 different communities. Is there any way that I can attach the video to either an ad?
Yeah, great question. So I would create a video landing page first with that video.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then use that as the media. You can use that video where like the actual video is the ad, or you can make the picture the ad and then they land on the landing page that has the video running.
Okay. Yeah.
And I would tie the snapshot right to that. So I would have the top of the page I would do branded header on top. Then I would do the content piece being the video. Then I would do the content piece below that being the neighborhood snapshot. And then the bottom content piece would be lead form.
Okay.
And I would run it that way.
Okay. Sounds good.
Good idea.
All right. Thank
So anybody that doesn't know what she's talking about, she paid a photographer, videographer to do some cool videos of neighborhoods that she works in regularly. And then she has that content forever. So it's not specific to a house. It's not like, hi, I'm Lisa, I'm selling 123 Main Street. It's, hi, I'm Lisa and welcome to XYZ neighborhood. So anytime she does a deal or has a buyer or a seller or wants to market that neighborhood, she has that content forever and doesn't have to make it property specific. So it was a really good idea.
Thank you. Another great class. Have a good day.
Thanks for jumping on. Anybody else? Any questions? You're welcome.
Thank
Everybody,
you.
you're welcome. Glad to have you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Ryan.
No problem, guys. See ya.